Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be looking at 10 players that have been linked to Newcastle United this summer that the Saudi Arabia PF should go nowhere near. All 10 of these players have got reasons why I personally think that the club should not sign them. And that's it as well, it's also opinionated, so my opinion won't be the same as yours. That's going to happen. If you disagree with something I said, that's fine. Feel free to let me know down in the comment section. Keep it respectful. I am not Eddie Howe. I am not Amanda Staveley. I am not someone that's qualified to be going out scouting and signing these players. So, again, I'm just a fan. So there's a heads up there. But anyway, though, if you're new to the channel, make sure to get down there, hit that subscribe button. We are just short of 200 away now from 26,000. And as well as that, you'll also get down there, smash the like button. And finally, question of the day. Would you take any of these players I mentioned in this video, or would you say no to all of them? But anyway, though, that's about it. Without further ado, let's get into the list. Starting off with the goalkeepers, we have got Robert Sanchez from Brighton, who of course has played alongside Dan Burn, as well as our new director of football, Dan Ashford, has worked with him before. So why should we not sign him? Well, let's get the obvious thing out of the way. He's Brighton's first choice goalkeeper, which means that his value will soar through the roof. I've seen an article from TalkSport at the start of April saying that he will line up a £20 million move for him. He will never ever cost £20 million. He'll be upwards of £40 to £50 million for a goalkeeper, which is a lot of money to spend on a goalkeeper. As you can see from his stats here, that's 21 clean sheets in 64 games. That's an exceptional return, especially for a Brighton goalkeeper as well. It's not even like an Alisson or Edison. That's an incredible return there. I mean, Newcastle, we don't really need a goalkeeper for that amount of money at the minute. We need someone in that can kick to back up the backside and someone that's going to give Newcastle a good level of competition. I always feel like we lack a good level of competition behind De Braga. We need someone in there that can either be our first choice goalkeeper or just rotate with De Braga. He doesn't have to be an exceptional goalkeeper at the minute. Newcastle have bigger fish to fry in the pitch. We've got a lot of positions we need to improve. And I think spending over £20 million for a goalkeeper at this transfer window will be a silly move. And obviously, Robert Sanchez is going to definitely cost more than £20 million. So that's the reason why I personally wouldn't sign him. A centre-half that Eddie Howe has worked with in the past is Nathan Ake, the current Manchester City squad rotation player. Now, first off, I actually don't think the player wants to come to Newcastle. From what I'm aware, the player wants to stay at Manchester City. He's happy with the game time he's getting. He wants more, but he's also happy just to sit there on the bench and get a massive payday. I mean, a huge problem with him is that he's going to cost about £40 to £50 million due to how much Manchester City spent on him. So they would want a profit from the deal. I mean, we can get someone like Botman in for that amount of money, which we are currently trying to do. And Botman's just a better player than Ake. Now, I think Ake's a good player. I think Dan Burn and Ake will actually be a really good combination of centre-halves to play alongside each other. But he's just not a player really for £40 million that I'd be screaming about. I think there's better centre-halves out there for £40 million. We saw Diego Carlos go to Aston Villa. We are trying to sign Botman. There's just better players out there. And at the minute, it's just not someone I'm kind of keen on. Maybe in a couple of years' time as his contract runs down and we could get him on a free. But at the minute, no, I wouldn't go anywhere near Ake. This, I feel like, is quite an obvious one, but let's get out of the way anyway. Renan Lodi. We've already signed Matt Targett on a permanent deal this summer. He was a left-back that we were heavily linked to sign before we made that deal. It makes no sense for the club to sign two left-backs in one window. I'm confident the club won't do it. £20 million is good value for him, and I think in a couple of years' time, it could be a really good player to bring into the football club. But this transfer window, no, it makes no sense for the club to do that, and I don't think we will. Moving into the midfield now, this is a player that wanted to join the club in January, as Amanda Staveley confirmed it. Jesse Lingard. The problem with him straight away is that he's completely priced himself out to a move to Newcastle. He wants £150,000 a week. Newcastle will never ever accept that amount of money for a player. Eddie Howe has always said that he wants players in a similar wage gap because it can cause conflict in the dressing room with his one player earning far more than the other players. We will talk about this more later on, but this is a serious problem for Newcastle and we cannot allow players to come in mega contracts. This will affect us years down the line. I think Everton's a good example of a team that's been affected by financial fair play because they offer mega contracts and the players don't perform and the club just goes in somewhat of a slump. Newcastle cannot allow that to happen. We have got to continuously try and build up and progress slowly as a team. If we do this straight away, it can hit us hard. And that's one thing we need to be careful on. We cannot have players or merchants, you could call them, players that come in, get big amounts of money and don't perform. We cannot and we will not allow that. And there's also a reason why Manchester United is allowing Jesse Lingard to go on a free. The club cannot sell him. There's too much money on his contract. There's no club out there that's willing to pay him. And they can just let these players run down the contract and they're leaving a free. Lingard knows exactly what he's doing. And if we allow this to happen at Newcastle, he can just mug us off as well. So he's a cracking player. I would take him if he allows his wage to go down. But no, never ever on 150 grand a week. James Ward-Prowse is a player that Newcastle fans have been talking about quite a bit over the last couple of days. I don't get where this traction's coming from. Yes, I would love to sign for Newcastle United, but there's a lot of problems surrounding Ward-Prowse. First off, he's been at Southampton since he was 8 years old. He's been there for 19 years now. He is a player that can comfortably sit there for the rest of his career and retire at Southampton. He could be a one-club player. And if Newcastle were able to somehow tempt him to come and join us, it would cost us a lot of money. Enough money where we can just go out and buy Paqueta instead, who I think is probably a better player. Ward-Prowse says his stats last season. He's had probably the best season in his career. Deserves to be in the England team. He's been exceptional once again. James Ward-Prowse is probably the best free kick taker on the planet. Admittedly, we have Kieran Trippier, so it's not like we're desperate for a free kick taker, but he's got that to his name. I'm seeing a lot of Newcastle fans on social media saying that Ward-Prowse would definitely leave Southampton this summer, but I mean, why? He's already playing for England. He's just had the best season in his career. I mean, what's to say that he won't stay at Southampton, spend the rest of his career there? Not every football player needs money and trophies. Some players are just happy where they are. And maybe for Ward-Prowse, he's just happy at Southampton. I don't know. I don't know Ward-Prowse personally, but maybe the player's happy where he is. Maybe I'm completely wrong and Ward-Prowse decides to leave. I don't know. That's just the thing. Newcastle, I mean, regardless of what happens, if we were to go and buy Ward-Prowse, it would cost a lot of money. And we could just get Paqueta instead, who's a player that would be more willing to come to Newcastle. And again, I think it's probably better. Another player that's played with Kieran Trippier in the past is Yannick Carrasco. Now, straight away, his problem is that he has a £51 million release clause. And that's just so much money spent on a player. That's his stats there from La Liga. Now, I haven't watched him before. I haven't watched him on a weekly basis, so I can't just sit here and go, oh, well, those stats are terrible. He's not going to play for Newcastle. I don't know what he's like on a weekly basis, but I mean, on paper, those stats just don't look anything amazing. Just £51 million is so much. That would be a record transfer for Newcastle. Just no. No, I think there's better players out there. As far as I'm aware, he's a left-sided player anyway, which I think Saint-Maximin is better on the left-hand side. So what would you do? Stick Saint-Maximin on the right-hand side and play Carrasco there? I don't know. For me, no. I just think there's better players out there, especially Moussa Diaby, for example, you can get for a similar amount of money. He's just a much better player than Carrasco, surely. Another player that has played under Eddie Howe in the past is Danjuma from Villarreal. Now, a similar problem with Yannick Carrasco is the release clause. I've seen a lot of different reports online, but they're all been between £45 million to £65 million. So no matter what the truth is, it's a massive release clause. He has his stats. I mean, he's had an exceptional season at Villarreal in the Champions League and La Liga. Both of those look really good. It's a lot of money to spend, and if you are willing to spend it on a player, then it's a decent shout, but it's just a lot of money. And I feel like Newcastle this window, we're going to spend the money elsewhere. I just think on the wing, we're not going to spend 40 to 60 million pounds. It's just not going to happen this window. He's a cracking player, but no, I just don't think Newcastle are doing. I think for that amount of money, it's a move that we shouldn't make. Since this one is not officially done to Chelsea, I'm going to talk about it now, but a current free agent that Newcastle should go nowhere near is Ousmane Dembele. He's got a lot of problems, injury being one of them. He's an injury-prone player, and he's had some horrible injuries for Barcelona over the years. It's just completely destroyed his career. Another thing as well is the wages. When he first joined for Barcelona, he was reportedly on €12 million a year. That is so much, and it's just going to completely destroy Newcastle's dressing room. Again, we're going to talk about this with another player coming up. You saw him in the thumbnail. We'll talk about him in a bit. But the wages is a huge problem. A free agent on paper we could actually sign because we can't afford him. But I don't think he would come to Newcastle for one, and two, obviously he's set to join for Chelsea, and he's just going to be a player that's just going to sit in their bench, and whenever he plays, he'll probably just get injured again. He's just one of those players where can't stay out the injury list, and it's sad to see because he's a class football player, but no, we should be nowhere near him. A striker that Newcastle have been linked with quite a bit in the past is Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton. Now, one problem with him straight away is the fact that he's also injury prone. I mean, we've got Callum Wilson at the minute. Why sign another striker that's also injury prone? It doesn't fix the problem we have. He's a decent striker. His stats are better than Chris Wood, for example, but it's going to cost about £40 million to bring on a striker that's just slightly better than Chris Wood. He's not going to blow the world away. I still think Callum Wilson is a better player because he's a lot more consistent when he plays, and he's someone that plays in Newcastle's strengths very well. He's great at getting behind. He's got that strength. He's got that pace to him. And he's a top-class finisher. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is good. He had a couple of really good years at Everton, but he's went downhill a bit. He's definitely declined, and he's a player for me that's a massive gamble. And I just think a £40 million gamble is not worth it. Hugo Ekitike is a better player again, who's half the price, younger. He's a better prospect. Yes, he's got injury problems as well, but I think it's a better sign for Newcastle, and it's just a no-brainer compared to Calvert-Lewin. And last but not least, you saw him in the thumbnail. He's a 5 times Champions League winner, Gareth Bale. Why would I not take him at Newcastle United? Well, first off, as crazy as it sounds, I actually think it's a realistic sign on a 1-year or a 2-year contract. Gareth Bale has achieved everything he wants to achieve in football, and he's at that stage in his career now where he can just join any club he wants, get a big money contract, and just play at the World Cup or play at the Euros for Wales. And that's the thing as well. He's a current free agent and he needs a football club to play at so he can play at the World Cup in December. So why would I not take him to Newcastle? Well, his Real Madrid contract, he was on about £550,000 a week. That is ludicrous. That is ridiculous. Newcastle, we cannot ever have a player in that amount of money. It would completely destroy the team cohesion in the dressing room. Imagine the amount of players in the dressing room that would complain because Gareth Bale was on 5 times the amount of money as them. Imagine Sim Maxim, okay, we've got Gareth Bale on the right-hand side. Sim Maxim's playing on the left-hand side. He's earning 1/5 of the price Gareth Bale is earning. He's obviously going to complain, obviously going to ask for more money from the owners. It's going to cause a lot of tension and friction in the back. Eddie Howe, he just won't allow it. It's just going to cause utter carnage, and we cannot have that at this football club. And as well as that, Gareth Bale will probably think he's bigger than this football club. And what I mean by that is that he just couldn't give one about the club. He'll join, he'll do what he wants, and when his contract runs out, he'll just go elsewhere. He's a player that I'll be willing to join just to get the money and not for the project. And I think that's something that Newcastle need to avoid. He would easily be the best player in the squad. Do not get me wrong. He would comfortably be our best player. But we cannot have these sort of players at the club. He'd just be someone that in a couple of years' time it will have negative effects on this club, and it's something that we need to avoid. But I do think it's actually realistic, as crazy as it sounds. I just don't think Newcastle would ever give a player that amount of money at the club. But anyway, guys, I'm going to finish things off there. Do you agree with what I said about these 10 players? Do you disagree? Again, this is just opinionated. I'm doing my best, my knowledge here, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong in some of these. But anyway, though, guys, thank you for watching. Take care, and yes, I'll see you on the next one.